This week's Parsha of Vayikra, we find a reference to a widely cited custom that we have when we break bread at the table. When we make hamotzi on the table, especially on Shabbos and Yom Tov, there's a practice of having salt on our bread. The Ramah in the Shulchan Aruch cites a reference from this week's Parsha. It says in Parshas Vayikra, in the context of bringing the karbanos, the sacrifices, on the Mizbeach, it says, "V'kol karban minchascha b'melech timlach." All the flour offerings should have salt on it, and therefore we learn from over there that when we have our bread on our tables, when our tables are equivalent to a Mizbeach, to the altar, which we consider a holy endeavor, we also have salt. But there's a deeper understanding which I want to explore, the connection with having salt and our practice of dipping bread into it as well. And that is that we know that the properties of salt are to be an extraction. When you put salt on something, the salt extracts whatever's in it. So most famously, our practice in terms of making sure there's no blood in the meat that we eat, we salt it. Why do we salt it? Because there's a prohibition of consuming any blood. So we put salt on it, and the salt extracts the blood. So, kosher meat has been synonymous with the salting process. But be as it may, we see the properties of salt for it to be an extraction. So why is that important in this context? Because in our avodas Hashem, our service of God, there's this extraction that's needed as well. There's this famous prayer that one of the Talmudic sages said, the Ribbonu Shalom, Master of the world, Gala b'yadua b'fanecha, it's known before you, the Ritzonenu lasos ritzonecha, it's our will to do your will. We all want to do your will, Almighty Hashem, but Umam Ma'akev, so what's stopping us, says the Talmud, So'ar Shebe'isa, it's the rising materialism that's represented with the rising dough, and also with Shibud Malchios, it's the external pressures. But if not for the external pressures that we have and the internal pressures that we have, ultimately the core of every single Jew, within their neshama, within their soul, there's a spark that they want to do the Ratzon Hashem, the will of Hashem. And sometimes we need something to extract that Ratzon Hashem that's so embedded within the soul. And as we sitting down to our table, and we're about to engage in this endeavor, the holy endeavor of consuming challah or bread, especially for the Shabbos table, we want to do a practice, we want to engage in a practice that's going to extract that Ratzon Hashem to the surface, the will of Hashem to the surface. And we're reminded to do that by placing some salt on our bread, to remind us that we're not just sufficient, we're not just content, rather, to have the will of Hashem deeply embedded within us. We want it to be extracted and rise to the surface. And that's what we're reminded by every time we dip our bread or our challah in salt. Wishing you a very good Shabbos.